Fellows, welcome to the More Than Average Men podcast. I'm your host, Michael Benton, and you are listening or watching to episode 10. All right, man. Thank you so much for tuning back in with us for another episode of More Than Average Men podcast. If you guys have already been, kind of listening to the show, thank you so much for your continued support. And if you're new to the show, again, thank you for your new support. It's Sunday right now. It's about 12:18 in Arizona, and I figure what better time to hop on this thing and give you guys some knowledge, some different perspective on this week's topic. So right now, including myself, a lot of us are going through something, right? And it could be a number of things. It could be, a health diagnosis, right? It could be a breakup. It could be a divorce. It could be that you just don't really feel that things are going your way and that life is working out the way that you intended it to be. It could also be, maybe you lost a relationship. Maybe you're grieving over a loss or a death of someone. It could be a plethora of things. And this week's topic or episode, I wanted to really jump into looking past our circumstances, because a lot of the times what kind of holds us back from, moving forward in our lives and really just enjoying the lives that we intend for ourselves, we would hope to have, is because a number of reasons, but just to name a few, we stop believing in ourselves, right? We stop believing in what's possible for ourselves. And largely in part that's due to because of our circumstances, right? Our experiences, the things that we've gone through, and that can be in the current present moment, or it can be in the past as well. And so with the combination of those two things, man, we really just kind of, it's almost like you put your life on hold. You put it on hold, right? There's no momentum for you to move forward, right? Or at least the momentum that you'd like to see, right? It's kind of just this stagnant progression of doing the same thing day in and day out, right? And I think that's what stops a lot of us from, reaching fulfillment and feeling and joy and happiness and things of that nature. I mean, and don't get me wrong, right? Life is hard, right? And you're always going to have pain. You're always going to endure pain in your life. But as I said before, suffering is a choice. And so if we can get ourselves to a mental state in which we're mostly thinking positive things, right, and not ruminating on negative thoughts, and being able to look beyond the things that are happening for us, not to us, right? That's another mindset shift for you, is to think that things are happening for us, not to us. But if we can get ourselves to press forward even beyond the bad times and things, when things don't go our way, we could really, each and every one of you, right, individually, we could really have a life on our own terms, and we can create that from a good place. And so that's what I want to talk to you guys about. And so by the end of this episode, man, I really just hope that you guys, again, as I always hope with all of my episodes and the content that I put out there, is that you're open enough to see a different perspective. You're open enough to change the habits and the mindset that you've accumulated, that you've experienced, that you've gathered to be true or false, and take heed to the knowledge that is out there, not just from me, but from other folks as well, to change your life for the better. Because I'm telling you, man, it's definitely possible. You just got to put in the work. You got to really believe that it's possible for you. And I'm a living testament of that. Do I have everything that I want? Am I the person that I want to be? In that kind of understanding. No. As far as having, I don't have everything that I want, but I do understand that the things that I do have and the person that I am in this present moment and the person that I'm moving or shifting to become, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for everything that I have, right? And I'm grateful for who I am and what I'm moving towards. And so you can definitely feel the same. So again, hopefully by the end of this episode, you guys have a different perspective. Maybe there's some things that you guys can start implementing in your regimen, in your life, that could just do that 1 degree of separation, right? That one little thing that could shift, your lifestyle and the way you operate, And so that would be my hope. So, let's get into it. So the first kind of portion of the episode, I want to take you guys through what your mind is doing. A lot of us, if you haven't done any, self-development work or kind of working on yourself, you really don't, or really aren't aware of what your mind is doing, right? Because everything up until this point for you has been working, just on autopilot, right? And so you may not have that built up, that awareness to see that you're ruminating in thoughts, so that you're always thinking negative things, and you have certain habits and beliefs that you are just unaware of, because that has just become so customized for you and so normal for you that you don't see it any other way. And it's going to take someone like myself, or a friend, or just someone out on the outside perspective, just to show you, hey man, do you realize that you're ruminating? Do you realize that you say these things about yourself all the time, right? Do you realize the way you think about a certain topic or a certain person, or do you realize that you act out this way in these particular scenarios, right? So it takes an outside person that really genuinely wants to see you do better, that really has a care and a love for you in their heart, to see you do better, that they're going to point those things out to you, and kind of give you some insight as to what they see, and what could be potentially best for you in your interest. So the first thing, as I touched on just now, but when you're in certain situations and you're in certain circumstances in your life, one thing that your mind will do, and quite often, if you're not aware of it, is you will ruminate, right? Which means that you'll just continually think of, it's almost like thought looping, right? Where you'll just continuously think of negative thoughts that just keep popping in and out of your head, right? You're always dwelling on the negative feelings, the negative things. A good example for this is like most people that I talk to, or have had a conversation with, and even myself before too, right? Is where you guys ever wake up in the morning, and the immediate thoughts that you have upon waking up is what you have to do for the day, right? What's on your plate for work? You're thinking about things that happened last night. You're thinking about things that happened last week that are negative, right? That are not giving you any type of like positive fulfillment for the morning, right? You're automatically waking up and you're like, damn, it's Monday. I got to go to work. The boss is going to be angry. I got to deal with these people at work. I got to do this. I got to drive here. I got to go here. Traffic's going to be crazy. My girl's still mad at me from last week. I got to make that up to her. I text this girl last night or whatever, and she never replied back. Maybe she doesn't like me. Like all of these things, right? You just find yourself ruminating over these negative thoughts. And, believe me when I tell you, man, like when you are doing that on a consistent basis, you're creating this, I don't know, this negative energy about you, right? And if you're not aware enough, over time, it becomes part of your norm. And the reason why I bring that up is because ruminating and having negative thoughts on a consistent basis, and not being able to check yourself and to reframe your mindset to more of a positive mindset, is that kind of stirs up and creates more of a problem within the circumstances that you're already dealing with, right? And again, it just holds you back from moving forward. You can also become fixated on where you currently are, and you typically can't see past that. You're not able to see the future and what could be for you, because you're so fixated on the problem that you have in front of you, the circumstances that you're dealing with, the situation that you're in. You're constantly thinking about that, and your mind is not giving you any room to think any solutions, right? You're always thinking of the problem, but you're never thinking of any solutions. How can you get yourself out of this, right? How can I get myself out of this? What can I change? What can I do? Who can I talk to? Where can I go? And so you become very, very tunnel vision. And I've been there, man. There's plenty of times where I've had, things happen in my life in certain situations, and that's the only thing that I can think about, I can't think of anything else. I've tried to focus on other things, right? And what you find in doing that is when you avoid those negative thoughts, when you avoid those negative feelings that you're having, all you're doing is you're just suppressing them, right? So you're pushing them down into your belly, right? Because that's typically where we hold a lot of our emotions and feelings and stuff. And so if you ever get that stormy feeling, that heaviness in your stomach, that's all of your emotions and your feelings and your anxiety. You're pressing all that down. And so because you're trying to force yourself to think positive things, when in fact what it is that we need to deal with those feelings and emotions that are coming up, right? We need to acknowledge it. It's there. It's not going away until you acknowledge it, right? Until you understand it. And then at that point, once you acknowledge it and you allow yourself to sit with it for a minute, right? And then you reframe it. You think something positive of that same situation, right? And then you move forward. And again, I know that sounds easier said than done, but trust me, it takes time, and it's nothing that's going to happen overnight. But as you become more aware of what you're doing, and as you practice these kind of tactics or just thoughts that I introduced to you guys, trust me, like you'll be able to quickly move out of feeling negative and ruminating and things of that nature. So again, just be aware that you're probably fixating on the problem absolutely more than what you need to, and that's causing you not to be able to see, to be optimistic, to see the future and what could change and what you may need to change, right? I would also tell you too that men are notorious for suppressing our emotions, just so we can function as best as we possibly can, right? I know this. I've done this, right? I've talked to men. I work with men that's what we do. We've been trained to do that, right? From birth, right? And we've talked about this on previous episodes, but it's the societal norms that have kind of laid out the terms of, men need to buckle up. You need to man up. You know what I mean? You need to put your crap aside and push down your feelings and move forward, right? That's a real man. And so again, that's what they say. And, but we do that without even thinking as men. We do that without even thinking. It's easy for us to do that, right? As I just mentioned, the more we suppress those feelings, the stronger those feelings get, and they're not going to go away. And so that's why you find men that, and maybe this could be even yourself too, where you get to a point where it's just things are just so built up for you that you lash out at your loved ones, right? Maybe you're married and you lash out at your spouse, and the problem may not have anything to do with her, right? But just in that moment, maybe you guys are arguing about something else, but you have all these other things and feelings and emotions and circumstances that you're dealing with outside of work, outside of the household, and that's when it'll come out, right? And you'll lash out. Some of you guys might even get physical, right? Either with someone else or yourself, or things might kind of deteriorate at work, and it could lead to a number of things if we're continually suppressing our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. So again, that kind of leaves us stuck when it comes to looking past our circumstances, because again, we're only focusing on dealing with what's currently in front of us. We're not able to see. We're so blinded. We're not able to see. Okay, if I just make this slight little tweak, I can go around it. I can go through that circumstance. I can figure out a way to better my situation. But again, a lot of us we're not taught that. We don't know that information until you seek it out, until you hear from someone else, until you're open to hearing and to receiving new information and new understanding. Then you'll continually be where you are. You'll continue to ruminate. You'll continue to have negative thoughts constantly. You'll continue to just sit in that circumstance and think that, okay, this is it. This is what I was meant for, right? This is, I'm cursed. I'm unlucky, and I don't have these things because of this. And you just start blaming things. And that doesn't have to be the case. So if you're open and you're willing and you're wanting to change your situations, your circumstances, then you're headed in the right direction, because you'll be receptive to new ideas. You'll be receptive to changing whatever you need to change, right? To make it work. We deal with emotional blocks, right? and not just men, but people in general, we deal with emotional blocks. And there's two main ways in which we deal with emotional blocks. And one of those is denial, right? So I've done this before. I'm sure you guys have done this as well, but you deny the circumstance. You deny the feeling. You deny the emotion, right? I don't. I'm not angry. I'm not sad. I don't care what she thinks about me. I don't care whatever. I don't care. I got passed up on that promotion, even though I deserved it. It's whatever. You know, it's not really happening. Or if if you're in a relationship and you feel that it's going downhill, you're putting yourself in denial. Oh, everything's good. Everything's great. You're telling your friends and your family, oh, we're perfect. Everything's good, right? Because you're trying to, again, avoid the situation. You're trying to avoid the circumstance. And people do that quite well when it comes to denying the situation in which they're in, right? Because it's easier to deny and not have to feel the pain than it is to, sit with that and feel that pain, right? And think of a way and work through that particular circumstance to get to the other side. It's more easy to deny that it's even happening to you, to deny that you're even feeling anything remotely negative, right? Another way that we kind of deal with emotional blocks is through projection. And this is a big one too. So typically we use projection when it comes to blame. It's kind of the number one culprit, right? So when we're going through things, we blame others, right? That's an easier way for us to, again, kind of not having to feel that emotional tie to whatever it is that we're currently dealing with. And so, we'll look at others and say, oh man, you're the reason why I didn't get the promotion, right? You're the reason why this marriage isn't working because you don't communicate, right? You, right? You blame other people. It's your fault that I didn't have this as a child, right? You're blaming your parents for whatever the case may be, right? And so you place blame on others because, again, you're trying to avoid, whatever it is that you're trying to avoid. And so I just wanted to bring that up because, again, these are things in which we do that on a consistent basis that, again, if you're not aware of what you're doing, this is what you're doing. This is what your mind is doing, right? And again, as I mentioned before, it's going to take someone outside of you to kind of give you some perspective on, man, this is what I see. And once you gain insight as to how your mind operates and you consistently, work on your self-awareness and your recognition, you'll start to see yourself. You'll start to be able to pinpoint, oh man, like right in the moment, like, oh, I'm ruminating. I'm having this negative thought over and over again, right? Or I'm thinking negative things when I first wake up, or, I'm doing this, or I'm acting this way. I'm behaving this way when this certain situation comes up or the circumstance comes up, right? When my wife raises her voice, I get defensive, right? When my kids don't listen, I feel disrespected and I have to lash out and I have to let them know that I'm in control. You know what I mean? And so it's slowly recognizing what it is that you're doing. And once you kind of get yourself to a point where you are able to be more conscious, be more aware of what's going around internally and externally, you'll be able to make better decisions, and you're able to look just beyond of where you currently are, right? You'll be able to look beyond that tunnel vision that you currently have. And I'm here to tell you, man, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing when you can analyze and your thoughts, and you can analyze, the situation, the circumstance in which you're in. And when you get to that point, like nothing is off the table. Like when you get to a point where you can witness and you can see a problem, right? You can see a circumstance that you're currently in. You can see a situation that you're currently in. You can recognize it for what it is, but then you can say, okay, this isn't the end all be all, right? So what do I need to do? What do I need to change? How do I get myself out of the situation without continually just sitting on the couch or wherever it is, and you're so far gone in your mind that you can't even comprehend that there is an answer to your problem or there is an answer to your circumstance, right? So that's kind of what your mind does. And if this is new to you guys and you're like, damn, I didn't realize that I do that, right? Just take some time over the next couple of days or whatever and just jot down, like when you recognize yourself like having negative thoughts over and over again, or you're thought looping, or you're fixated on a certain problem, and you can't think outside of that circumstance. Jot that down. Make yourself aware of it. Right. And if you can continually do that, you can start catching it sooner. So when those thoughts come on, or you're fixated on the problem and you can't think of any solutions, you can start to recognize it sooner. And that way you can get yourself into more of a problem solving mode than just thinking that there is no solution. So now I want to transition over to, okay, so we talked about kind of what your mind is doing as you're looking into these particular circumstances or situations that you find yourself in. But now I want to kind of jump into like, okay, so what can I do? What can I do to sort of teach my way into being a problem solver and being optimistic and looking at things beyond what the scope of what they are? What can I do? So the first thing that I would share with you is that observation, right? And we kind of talked about this a little bit, but just being observative of your mind and your thoughts and your awareness and what's going on, right? What are your current habits? If we broke down, let's just break down your day, right? So let's just take one day at a time, right? Let's just look at one day. So what are your current habits? What are you doing? What do you do every day? What is your habit? Like when you wake up, what do you do? Do you sit up in bed? Do you pray? Do you get up? You go straight to the shower? You throw on the TV. Like, what are you looking at your phone right away when you get up? Are you scrolling through Instagram? Are you checking your emails right away? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's your morning look like? What do your daily habits look like? Because I'm here to tell you, like, if you're not, our movements become so subconscious because we do stuff. It becomes like freakishly mundane, but we literally program ourselves, and this is obviously past programming as well through school and your parents and those who've had a hold on your mentality. But we become so programmed that we just do things and we don't even know that we're doing them, right? And it just becomes routine. It's like what we do. And it's not until something happens, right? It's not until you're diagnosed with something that you're like, damn, okay, I gotta change it, right? I've been eating crappy all my life, right? Not thinking anything of it. And then you're diagnosed with, I don't know, colon cancer. You're diagnosed with something that has to do with you, because I'm not a doctor, something that has to do with you in your bad diet that you've had for the rest of your whole life. You got a heart attack, right? Now you need stents and all these things. And it's like, what was I doing for the last X amount of years? Why was I doing that? Right? And we find ourselves, because it's our habits that we create for ourselves. And until you can step out of yourself, until you can have someone show you what it is that you're doing, you're not going to know until that bad time or that circumstance or that situation pops up on you. And then by that time, it might be too late. There ain't nothing you can do. You might actually be out of options, or you might be able to prolong it, right? Who knows? And so the sooner that we all can get to a point, especially as men, where we can take control and we can make the decisions and we can create our own good habits, so that way we're not faced, so that when we do come faced with situations and circumstances that aren't ideal, we have the mindset to say, okay, cool, I'm faced with this. This is currently an issue, but we're gonna get past it. We're gonna move beyond it, because this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do this, and this. I'm clear. I have a clear enough mind in which I can start thinking, okay, what do I need to change? What do I need to do? And not dwelling on, damn, never gonna have any money. I'm always broke. You know what I mean? I never get promotions. All that stuff. So look at your current habits. What are you doing? What can you change? Is there any positive things that are happening in your daily habit? Are you doing anything positive that is influencing you, influencing your behavior, influencing the way you think, the way you act, the way you feel? Are you doing anything positive in your daily habits to make a change? Because you may not think that, you may not think that reading a book for 10 to 15 minutes in the morning does anything. You may not think that taking cold showers may not do anything. You may not think that eating healthy doesn't do anything. You may not think that waking up and praying and saying your gratitude may not do anything, but I'm telling you, it does. It does a lot. And you wouldn't know, right? Because you don't do them now. So how would you know? Right? How would you know? You don't. So at least be open enough to trying it, because I'm telling you, it's going to change something with you. But you got to be open and willing to trying it. And if you're not, that's totally cool, bro. Like there's no judgment whatsoever, right? You are where you want to be. You will go where you want to go, and that's totally up to you, and that's totally your option and your choice. But for those of you that are, on the opposite side of that, and you do want to see some change in your life, and you do want to, live life on your own terms, then yes, then you need to put some positive influence into your habits. So, if you're not, so for like, I'll just give you an example because it's easy. So I'll give you my example of what I do that creates good habits. And those habits turn into the behaviors that I take throughout the day and out the week and out the month. And that stuff adds up. That adds up, right? Like if you're doing, imagine if you're, if you eat McDonald's 3 times a week, 3 times a day, I don't know, whatever. Let's just say you eat fast food all the time. And maybe you have a couple of home cooked meals here and there. That adds up. And at some point, it's going to add up to a damn heart attack. It's going to add up to some stents, right? It's going to add up to some blockages in your arteries. It's going to add up to some type of health issues, gut issues. I don't know. It adds up, right? But on the reverse, if you're the type of person that is eating fruits and vegetables, which I do not, I am horrible at that. I actually just, side note, I just purchased a nutrition plan from a gal to change my diet, bro, because I need to get back on track. But I digress. But on the flip side of that, if you're eating healthy, right, and you're constantly doing that, over time, that's going to add up to better health. That's going to add up to your arteries not being blocked. That's going to add up to you less likely having a heart attack or a stroke or any type of health implications, right? It adds up. So I want you guys to think of that. It's not just a short-term thing. It's a long-term thing. Your daily habits create long-term behaviors. So again, look at your current habits. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you reading in the morning? Are you exercising in the morning or throughout your day or at the end of your day? Are you listening to something positive? I don't know, a motivational speaker on YouTube or inspirational video, or are you some type of podcast that you listen to? Something positive, something that's like, hey man, anything positive, right? So just again, look at your daily habits, and that also goes to your daily routine. Kind of goes into that too, right? So just be cognizant of what your daily routine looks like, and if you need to make some changes there, bro, then it's time to make some changes. If you're not, and again, I stress that you don't have to go from, it doesn't have to be a full 360 change, right? Start small. Start small. If it's one thing that you want to throw in that you want to implement, okay, you know what? I'm gonna start taking cold showers, right? Or I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna drink a glass of water. As soon as I wake up, I'm gonna drink 1 glass of water. Start there and create that habit. There's different people out there that say how long it takes to create a habit. Some people say 30 days. Most people say 60 to 90 days. I kind of believe that it's 60 to 90 days. But do that. Whatever that thing is that you're going to start implementing and changing, do that for 60 to 90 days. And then once you feel like you mastered that, and that's something now it's just subconscious, as you've created everything else in your life, this will become subconscious too. This will be something that you just automatically do. And once you get to that point, pick up another thing. Okay, now I automatically wake up and I drink a glass of water. Okay, now I'm going to work out for 30 minutes, 15 minutes in the morning. Get my blood pumping, something, right? So again, just observe where you are, because when you're able to observe where you are, you can see what is leading you to the circumstances that you're dealing with. You can see what is leading you to the situations in which you're in. If you're having money problems, look at your daily habits with money. Look at what you do daily. What do you spend your money on a day-to-day basis? What do you spend your money on weekly, monthly? What does that look like? What kind of purchases are you making? Go back in your bank account and look to see where's the most spending that takes place. Right? It's your daily habits. It's your routines that are creating these circumstances. Somewhere right? And if it's a circumstance in which, it's external, meaning someone else brings it on, whether it's a relationship issue or something at work, it still leads back to you. You either have done something or haven't done something enough to create that particular circumstance. And if it's something that's totally out of your control, there's still no excuse not to have more positive influences in your daily regimen, because at the end of the day, it's still going to help you be more optimistic and be able to see an outcome versus there not being any solution possible whatsoever, and you're stuck and you can't move on. Second thing I would tell you to do, man, or share with you is to identify your wants. What is it that you want in your life? When's the last time that you've made a list of, this is where I would like to go? Like, if I had a magic wand, like, this is where I would want to live. This is kind of what I would want to have. This is kind of how the life that I foresee for myself. Like, when's the last time that you've identified those things? And then I would also tell you, for each one that you identify, ask yourself the question, well, why do I want that? Why do I want to live here? Why would I want to make $70,000 a year? Why would I want to make $500,000 a year? Why would I want to have a pretty wife? Like, why? What's the reason? Because that's going to get you more in tuned, right? That's going to fine tune your the things that you identify. It's going to get you down to the nitty gritty, right? To where you might find some things, you might list out some things that you think you want, and then when you put down why, it's like, damn, I guess just because. Well, that's not a reason. You know what I mean? That's not a reason. That's because when you identify something and you find out that you don't really want it, you're not really going to work for it. When you are put in front of those circumstances again, in those situations, you're going to be like, oh, well, I don't really want to work to keep that going or work to have that. So I'm going to let that go to the wayside. So I would ask you to identify those things and then create a why as to for each one of those. Small to big changes. Small to big changes. Small changes lead to big changes, right? And so example of this is, if someone is trying to lose weight, if you're trying to lose weight, bro, and you're like, man, I'm trying to lose 50 pounds. Don't try and go for the full 50 pounds. Try to lose 2, right? Lose 2 pounds first. And then try and lose 4 pounds. And then try and lose 10 pounds. And then try and lose 12 pounds, right? Like, go in increments. Most of us, as far as like when we get into a circumstance or a situation, we think that we have to hit a grand slam. Or if we don't hit a grand slam, it's a wrap. And that's not true. That could be so farther from the truth. You don't have to go after the whole damn thing. Start small pieces, because you get overwhelmed. You make things more complicated because you're trying to take on too much. You're already in a position right now with this particular circumstance or situation in which you're already struggling, and you haven't even done anything yet to try and get yourself out of it, right? And so then to try and tackle on, oh, you know what? I'm going to go for the grand slam, and I'm going to do the biggest thing I can do to make a change. Now, some of you might be able to do that. Some of you might be able to just do the most grandiose thing and make a complete 360 change just by doing the one big thing. And if you can do that, great. More power to you, bro. But I'm willing to bet the majority of us aren't willing and able to do that. Aren't willing and probably can't do that. So I would say to make small changes. Make the small changes. So again, the example of losing weight. Try and lose the 2 pounds first. Because have you lost 2 pounds prior? You're telling me that you're going to go from where you currently are in weight and you're just going to, I'm going for the straight 50 in a month. I'm no health expert. I work out every day, but I'm not a physical trainer, a nutrition, I'm none of that. So I don't know. But I'm willing to bet that might not be ideal. It might be possible, but I don't know if that doesn't even sound healthy. Like, it just doesn't sound healthy going from not losing anything to losing 50 pounds. Like, I don't know. But again, just start small. Work that up. Because what we're trying to do, man, we're trying to get momentum. And I'll touch on that in just a second. And then I will also tell you, part of identifying too is identifying your things that are going to hold you back. What if you're trying to go after something, if you're trying to get beyond a circumstance or a situation that you're currently in, what is going to hold you back from doing that? Make a list. So here's an example. If you're a natural procrastinator, which you want to do something, but you get, I don't know, you get sidetracked. You say you're going to do it. You're like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes. You're like, okay, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes. You're like, okay, I'm going to do it next week. And that just gets longer and longer. If you're a natural procrastinator, because that's what you need to work on first. If you are a type of person that has self-doubt, you doubt yourself, you doubt your abilities, you doubt the positive things that can happen to you. That's something that you need to address first. I hope you don't expect to change your circumstance, your situation, while you steadily doubt yourself. I mean, does that even sound doable? Does that sound like that would be something in your favor that would lead you to the success that you want, that would get you out of that situation and that circumstance? It doesn't to me. If you have a problem drinking, if you have a problem with taking drugs, that's probably going to be your number one thing that you need to handle first, right? Because those are the things that are going to enable you to not move beyond that circumstance and not change things that you want to change. Do you not have a support system around you? Are you a single guy? All right, are you a single girl out there and you know that you need accountability, and you know that if you have the accountability, you're more than likely, you're 9 times out of 10, you're going to do what you say, because when someone holds you accountable, that just hits you different, because you don't want to let that particular person who's holding you accountable down, right? It pushes you more. It gives you an edge when someone is accountable. When someone's saying, okay, you said you were going to do this, why aren't you doing it? You know what? You're right. So if you don't have any support system, go find a support system. Look at start with your friends. Do you have any friends that you see accountability in them? They're accountable to themselves. Do you see that person? That person that is set on their goals, and that's what they shoot towards. And they don't let anything distract them, right? And they're very goal oriented. They don't go out and they party because they're sacrificing those good times and those fun moments for what they're trying to go after, and they'll do it later. That's the type of person that you need to be like, yo, bro, I need you to hold me accountable. This is what I'm trying to do. This is my goal. This is my vision. This is where I'm currently at, right? I'm only making $40,000, bro, and I'm trying to make 80. I need you to hold me accountable, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to do the things. Here's the actions that I'm going to take to get to that 80 by next year or the next year after that. Go to those people. If you have family members that are like that, if you guys are fortunate enough to have your parents around, your grandparents around that you're close with, right? Anyone, a mentor, find a mentor. Is there someone that you look up to? You may not know them. Are they on social media? Is it an author that maybe a book that you've read that you like their work? Reach out to them. Won't hurt, but just find a support system. Maybe you have a lack of knowledge. Maybe your thing is, I just don't know enough. And because I don't feel like I know enough, I'm not going to move forward. It's going to stop me from changing my circumstance because I just don't know what it is that I need to know, right? And we know that's just an excuse, but if that's the case for you, then go get the knowledge. You know what I mean? Go find someone who's done it. Go find someone who's doing it, whatever it is that you need the knowledge on. Go find someone that is succeeding in that particular area, and ask them, how did you do it? What changes did you make? I see you made a huge transformation when if you're talking about losing weight or gaining muscle or mass or changing your careers or having a better relationship. Ask them, like, how did you? I see looks like you have a beautiful family, and I see you guys are always together and you're smiling, and you guys have looks like you guys have a good relationship, and things seem to be going good in your life. Like how did you make that happen? What did you do? What changes did you make? Right? Could you share, 1 or 2 things that would put me on that track? So go find the knowledge, go find the mentors, deal with the things that are going to hold you back first. Then you deal with, the other things after that. Because if you can't get past the things that are going to hold you back, 9 times out of 10, you're going to fail. 9 times out of 10, you're going to fail. All right. And then the last thing that I would share with you guys is, once you've kind of done the observation and then you've identified, what it is that you want and the things that are going to hold you back, choose one thing. Choose one thing. What we're going after is momentum. We're seeking momentum. That's what we're looking for. Momentum is everything. If you can just get started and you can just take one step, I'm not asking you to go from 1 to 50. I'm asking you to take one step. If you are a drinker and you know that you have a problem with drinking, the one step, and I could be out of order, but the one step is identifying that you're a drinker is probably the first step, right? Then the second step is probably asking for help. Anyone, right? Just take the one step. Take the one step. Because we're after momentum. That's what we're after. And as I mentioned before, most people, they don't try to do, they try to go for the whole thing. They try to go from 1 to 1,000. And they usually, it doesn't work out because it's so much. There's so much, you put so much more pressure on yourself to achieve that, to accomplish that. So start small and gradually build your way up. So if you guys follow or know Dave Ramsey, right? He's kind of a big like financial guy. He gives a good financial advice. He's got a couple books out there, and one of his kind of tactics or techniques is the snowball effect, right? The debt snowball effect. And so, what he talks about is, if you have a bunch of debt, you want to pay off the smallest debt first, right? Pay off the smallest debt first. And then whatever that payment is on that small debt, you then add that to the next debt. And then you take those two payments, wherever those were, and you add it to the third debt. And you go from there, right? You're gaining momentum. Because when you start from the top, let's say we're referencing debt still, right? And you're starting at a debt that's $50,000 or whatever it is, student loan, and you're trying to get momentum. There's no momentum because that's going to take you a while. Especially if you don't have any, extra income to throw on top of that. You know what I mean? So start with the small debt, build your way up, take those payments, and rinse and repeat. And now you're adding more money on to the debts as they come. You're paying them off faster, right? And it's a win in your head. In your mind, like, damn, okay, I'm winning. I'm doing something. I'm making stride. I can actually see myself making a change. I can see it. I can physically see it in my bank account, in the number that is decreasing on those debts that I have. So start with momentum. All right. I truly hope that you guys took something from that. If you are currently in a situation in which you have a circumstance and you cannot, for whatever reason, see beyond that circumstance, you cannot see yourself winning. You cannot see yourself getting out of this particular situation that you're in. And it's causing you a lot of stress. It's causing you a lot of heartache. It's causing you a lot of anxiety. It's putting you in a state of depression. I truly hope you guys take heed to what I offer you. I really do. Because I'm telling you, man, you can get yourself out of it, bro. You can get yourself out of it. There are ways. You just have to be clear-minded. You have to be open and receptive to seeing new things, seeing new perspectives, new ideas, the possibilities, the belief within yourself that you can get yourself out of it. Trust yourself. And again, you don't have to do this alone. You lean on people that love you and that want to see you succeed and want to see you win. Lean on them for support. And I offer this to you too. Like I said, you guys know that I coach. So listen, if you need accountability, if you need support, if you need someone to be your anchor, to hold you down, as you move through your circumstance, your situation in your life, and you're trying to get from A to B, I can be that for you. I can help you with that. So don't hesitate to reach out to me, man, and see kind of what coaching would look like for you. But my overall message, like I said, is your current circumstances is not your end destination. It doesn't have to be. What keeps you stuck in your current circumstances is what you make it out to mean. It's what you make it out to mean. Again, whatever it is that you're dealing with, create more positivity in your life. I know and it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard, but it's not impossible. So if you're going through a separation, you're going through a divorce, you're grieving over a loss of someone, you have a medical diagnosis that you just been hit with, it's going to be okay, right? But just start to make subtle changes. As I mentioned before, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or you want me to address any situation or circumstance in which you found yourself in, please email me at bentoncoaching@gmail.com, and I'll be sure to address your question on the upcoming episodes. Again, I thank you guys so much for tapping in with me. This one's a little bit longer, but I was feeling this one. This one was a little passionate to me, as most of them are. But sometimes I get going on certain topics. But again, thank you guys so much for tapping in with me. Please, wherever you're watching or listening, subscribe. Also, too, I would ask that you guys rate and review the show. So if you guys like the episode, you guys like the podcast, the information that I'm putting out there, please, my podcast can get shown more to other folks that may need my help, my knowledge, and the things that I share. Please rate and review the show. I would greatly appreciate it. And as I always say, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, fellas.